Where we are now in terms of biodiversity and nature loss, we are not in a good place. The situation is extremely grave, very serious. The decline in natural resources, it's staggering, is unprecedented, and has actually happened particularly accelerated in an exponential level in the last few decades. This is not doom and gloom, this is not alarmism, this is science speaking. As humanity, we're really at a fork, at a point, at a great choice, if you like, and a great chance to avoid reaching tipping points versus embracing a turning point in our relationship with nature from an exploitative, nature negative to a sustainable, nature positive one. The two global goals that should drive our sustainable development in moving forward is pretty simple. In fact, we are part of nature. We are depending on nature, on everything. And our economy is depending on nature as well. More specifically, nature is beginning to be of material value, a material risk as a consequence of its decline to business. And if risks are not addressed, they turn into costs. And this is becoming now something that already, particularly related to water access and availability, is hitting bottom lines of companies. Then there is another dimension, which is legal and compliance. Increasingly, because of the concerns in society, regulators are putting in place mechanisms, rules, norms, standards to try to reduce the impacts on nature. And so companies that do not see that coming, do not evolve, and that's an incentive to embrace a transition. It's pretty obvious that infrastructure in general is the backbone of our economic development, and it's pretty obvious that many regions in the world are still lagging behind. A lot of countries, a lot of regions needs to catch up. First step is to assess the impact that that particular development may have. Second step is to avoid what is avoidable. For example, rerouting in a way that avoids a very high-level, important biodiversity area or protected area. Third is restoration. So once you have had an impact, there are opportunities to restore very quickly some of the impacted areas and recover that. And then finally, the compensation part. When there is really an unavoidable impact, how can you invest in the landscape where you operate to compensate that impact? So these are the kind of few steps that the built environment could embrace. The fundamental cultural shift, if you like, strategic, cultural, mental shift, it's thinking that a business that destroys nature and destabilizes climate is not a business that can last long. In fact, in the short term, we'll have to change. So better to embrace the change now, because the change will inevitably happen. For such an important sector that provides so much benefits to humanity, but until now has provided so much harm and impact to nature, for me, the great inspiring, exciting moment of today is to try to actually strike that balance where we can continue to provide benefits to humanity without impacting nature. It is possible. We have the knowledge, we have the financial means, regulation, policies are changing, moving in that direction, supporting that new transition. And so it's a question of will. With this opportunity to really support humanity and nature at the same time, I can't believe anyone would not want to embrace that great challenge and great opportunity.